We're going to look at how to find a confidence interval estimating a population proportion using MegaStat. This particular problem also asks us, actually the directions say, to use the Statkey bootstrap confidence interval simulation. So I'll do that after doing the MegaStat way. So it says we wish to estimate what percent of people in the U.S. put the cap back on the toothpaste tube after brushing their teeth. Out of 200 adults sampled, 44, surely that's too small. Okay, 44 put the cap back on the toothpaste tube after brushing their teeth. Based on this, construct a 95% confidence interval for the proportion P of adults who put the cap back on the toothpaste tube after brushing their teeth. So I'm going to open Excel. Here we go. And it's opening on my other screen, I think. Okay. Blank workbook. And data tab. MegaStat. Confidence intervals is the fourth choice. And I want to choose P. And MegaStat only allows us to do these three confidence levels as far as I can tell, but 95% is what we're asked to do in this particular problem. So I need to put in P and N. So N was 200, and I don't think they gave us P outright, so we need to estimate it with our calculator and do 44 divided by 200. And this one comes out pretty nicely, but you want to round pretty far out if it does seem to be a repeating decimal, so 0.22. And I can hit preview, and if all I need is 3 decimal places, then that's fine. But if I want to have more, then I'll just hit OK. And here's our details. So we've got lower limit, and I have lots of decimal places, or upper limit, margin of error, the critical value, z sub 0.025. And then this is the stuff we entered, so we can double check that we chose the right thing. Okay, so let's see what our decimals need to be. 3 places, so 0.163, 0.277. 163, 0.277. And I'll just go ahead and do the rest of this, and then we'll look at bootstrap confidence interval. State the point estimate for the proportion of people in the U.S. I guess that should say who put the cap back on the toothpaste tube after brushing their teeth. So the point estimate is our statistic. So that's the 44 out of 200, or the 0.22. And state the margin of error, and MegaStat has that for us. That is the 0.057. And then what is the best interpretation? So let's see. I'm looking through this, and there's only one that actually uses our lower limit and upper limit for our interval. Let's just make sure it's correct. We are 95% confident that between 16.3% and 27.7% of adults put the cap back on the toothpaste tube after brushing their teeth. Yes, that's the correct interpretation. And let me just make sure that they didn't want... Yeah, it says decimals, not percents. Okay, so I'm going to submit it. All right, yay. So if we want to do this Statkey simulation, then confidence intervals is in the middle, and we want a single proportion. Looks like we have a bunch of different things here, but I don't see anything about toothpaste. I may be missing it. So let's just go to edit data, count was 200. And, oh, wait a minute. Sample size is 200. Okay, so the count, I guess, is like the X value, 44. Let's see if that looks right. Okay, and there's our proportion, so that looks like I did that right. Okay, and we want to tail, and let's go ahead and start generating samples. So with this simulation stuff, you have to generate a bunch of samples, and typically it seems to say like at least 6,000. So just click on that one, and then we can put in our confidence level here in the middle, 0.95. And then we have our two values. And so this is pretty close, right? It's not exactly the same as what we got. We have 0.163 and 0.277. So it's like within 100th, I think that would be. Or I guess within a 100th. So yeah, that's pretty close. If we generate more samples and then fix that to 0.95 again, it's still the same. Okay. Except this guy actually is a little different. But the question should be set up that it will take it. So let's just see what happens if I put this in. So it should take a range of values since they are, yeah, and it takes it. Since they asked us to do that simulation, using the simulation kind of makes things a little bit, it depends, you know, on the simulation, I guess. It depends on how they sort of did the samples and whatever. So we can get slightly different numbers is the point. Okay, so that was a confidence interval for a population proportion using MegaStat and using Statkey with the Bootstrap simulation method.